Hi. Today, in this episode, I'm going back to the first quarter of January 1977. That is from January through March. And my association and participation in the Department of Geology and in the activities. On the second or third day of my rejoining, Menon sir called me in and told me that Vikraman, in this year's budget, there is something like 25,000 rupees remaining unspent. If you have any idea in your mind about purchase of equipment, etc., then you make a list and we will process it and buy it. Well, I said, sir, yes, I will. And give me a day or two. Then I went back to my office, sat and brooded over what could be done with that money. Then all of a sudden, a few things occurred in my mind. In 1973 summer, during my brief visit to home and in the department and participation in the redesign of the syllabus, and based on my suggestion, a course in geostatistics was introduced, perhaps for the first time outside of the IITs, in a geology department in India. And the teaching was carried out by the teachers in statistics department. And in statistics, you have to do a lot of calculations. And those days, there was no computer available, access to computer available for the students. And the only surest machine that was available was a FACIT, F-A-C-I-T, FACIT mechanical adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing machine. So what if you went into the senior and the classroom of the statistics department, you will see one of those machines sitting in front of a student, and the student will be working with that. So I went up to the statistics department, spoke to the concerned people as to how to procure those machines for the geology department. And the office in the statistics department said, Sarah, please come tomorrow, I will give you the list of suppliers, etc. Because, we had to go for competitive bidding in buying any equipment that is worth more than 1,000 rupees, unless it is manufactured by a government undertaking or institution that are exempted or approved by rather the state government or the central government. So the next day I went up and the office person gave me a list of these suppliers in India, etc. And so I thought we will buy for the geology department at least 3 such machines. And the price was very high. In other words, that each machine would cost something between 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. So the next thing I had in mind was, the Keltron was also making a machine, a desktop calculator and electronic calculator. I'm not sure whether they had stuck only the Keltron label or they manufactured the entire thing by importing what is called the processor from abroad. But anyway, that machine was also something useful for the students, in petrology or wherever they want to calculate something. In other words, geology has evolved too fast, where instead of observation and recording as we now even those days were strongly data supported. When you have data, this is numerical data especially, you need some kind of averaging and such kind of processing. So I thought the department will buy 4 calculators from Keltron, etc. Then one other thing that passed through my mind was perhaps nowhere in the Karivattam campus there was a overhead protector, because it was unheard of actually those days. And then I thought I will have a overhead protector included in the list. Then another thing was what is called a lectern or podium. I would say that those days the only lectern or podium was available only in the stage of the Senate Hall under the University of Kerala. So I thought I listed a lectern also in my list. Then I went and spoke to the professor, Menon sir, and Menon sir said, Vikraman, you get the quotes for it. So then I drafted letters to those various companies to get the quote for facet machines. Then as far as the lectern was concerned, it was very simple. I just got a letter drafted and finalized and signed by Professor Menon, addressed to the ex-servicemen's cooperative society in the neighborhood of Muscat Hotel. Even today that outfit stays there. And I took the letter over to that society, and there was some kind of a retired army officer in charge of the management. I spoke to him, and the man said, I waited for another 20 minutes, you will get the quote for the lectern. But the only thing is, he did not know what sort of design of a lectern. He knew what a lectern is, Then I said, let us sat down and did a little homework and gave a design. And he was also happy about that design, and he wrote the specifications of the inches those days, in spite of the fact that we had switched over to India, switched over to centimeters or the MKS system. So the next day I took it over, and the cost was very simple, only 2,200 rupees. It is all made of tea coat, and the supply will be effected after placing a firm order within 15 days of placing of the firm order. So I took that over to Menon sir. Menon sir said, okay, we will buy it. But then when it came to the calculator purchase and the overhead projector, we wrote letter to the Keltron in Trivandrum, Bellambalam. And they quoted their price, and Menon sir said that, we may not have enough money anyway, let us see what is the offer by the facet supplier. So the 3 quotes were received from different parts of India, and each machine was quoted somewhere between 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. So we had only budgetary provision for 25,000 rupees available. So Menon sir also did not want to, spend the entire amount. For example, if there is an emergency to buy something, he needed some kind of fund in store, in the unspent fund. So anyway, finally, what was decided was, 2 Keltron desktop calculators, 1 overhead projector, 2 facet calculators, and the so-called lectern were ordered. We have to keep in mind one thing. I said the only lectern that was available probably under the university was the one sitting in the stage of the Senate Hall. No department in Karivattam had a lectern. So once we got the lectern into the department, Professor Raju Philip loved it so much in the sense that if the lectern is gone out of the Department of Geology or someone borrowed it, then Philip sir will not hold the class. He will ask the students to go to the library and read again with a reading assignment. And another interesting thing is the entire, practically almost all the departments used to borrow the lectern in the geology department for some kind of for a seminar or a special lecture, etc. Because nobody thought of a lectern ever as a very useful piece of furniture in the department concerned, where academic work is was happening. So one of the mistakes when I look back is that I did not order for 2 pieces. If I had ordered for 2 pieces, there could have been one placed one each in each of the classrooms, first year MSc and final year MSc. The overhead projector also was something very new and very brand new idea in the campus, but nobody else wanted to buy this projector. What I used to do was I used to purchase plastic bags and A4 size plastic bag on which I will write with the indelible pen the points I want to discuss in the class, and then I will project it not on a screen, then on the wall. Then of course later on, of course, the department purchased the what is called a screen, and a portable screen rather, where you can project the scenes from the text content using the overhead projector. So another thing that had happened in that during that time is, it's something personal or semi-personal, yes. Geeta did not go and join immediately in the medical college service microbiology department as a tutor, because once she went around the medical college in Thrivikramji and her department, and discovered that the only vacancy then available was in Kottayam, which she did not want to go to and join the job. So she decided to go and see Dr. late Velayathan of the GG hospital. And she definitely told Velayathan that she would want a job there. And Velayathan very promptly asked her Geeta to go to the GG hospital from the next day on. In other words, by the end of January, she was working for the GG hospital in Thrivikramji. So another thing that had happened was, there is Geeta's uncle is a very friendly and jovial man. The father-in-law's one of the brothers of father-in-law was working as a Tahsildar in the revenue board in Thrivikramji public office. So after landing in Thrivikramji, within the first week itself, we took Geeta. I took Geeta and Harikutan, and we took a bus over to East Fort. From there, we walked over to West Fort, and where this gentleman Sriyandan Jetappan was living. I used to call him Sriyandan Jetappan, and just like Geeta was calling him as Sriyandan Jetappan. Then, we sat there on a Sunday, it was in the afternoon. We sat there at his home, chatting through for 3 to 4 hours. He's a very talkative person, and there's so many things to talk to. And I too was not at all bad about keeping the conversation alive. And then during this course of the conversation, he asked me, "Hey, Vikram Nair, will you be interested in a Bajaj 150 scooter? I have a new scooter which I booked, which is due for delivery in the month of April, the same year, 1977. And those days we did not have enough funds to go and immediately buy a car. Well, of course, when we gave $1,000, or some thereabout. And then what happened was, those days, $1 was, if I sold $1, I will get what I will get as the price is something like 4 rupees and 20 or 22 paisa. This money we exchanged in the Palam airport on our arrival, right there in the airport. So that is all. Then we have to, all the funds are dried up to make a bigger investment. So what I did, I told Sri gentleman, yes, I will buy the scooter. Then he said, give me 3,000 rupees, maybe by February. I said, that is okay, no problem. So, in other words, the scooter was actually to be released or delivered by a dealer in Coimbatore. So, in other words, we have to go to Coimbatore to get the scooter released. But before that, release it in what is called April, first month of April. We had to send a DD or whatever. So Sri Japan did all those things, and finally the great day came in the month of April, first week or second week. Toward the end of the week, I, myself, my Kochetan and Sri Japan took a train ride over to Coimbatore. We took the Madras mail from Trivandrum Central, I think in about 1 o'clock or so, reaching Coimbatore at 9 p.m. in the evening. That night we slept over in a lodge, let us say. And however, my brother, Chetan was living in Coimbatore, but we decided not to go and disturb him at night. But also, one thing I did was I informed Chetan that Kochetan also informed Chetan that we are coming to Coimbatore, and we are going to the Bajaj dealership in Coimbatore, which Chetan knew very well where the location, etc. So what we did, in the next day morning, after breakfast, etc., we got ourselves ready to go to the dealership. And the children had to do some kind of signing of papers, etc., etc. So that the scooter will be delivered on that day. And then Chetan also came to the dealership doing our business after once we were done with the business of signing, etc. And the person in the dealership told in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, the scooter will be ready. And then Sri said, can you not make it a little earlier? He said, sir, yes, we will do that. So after the words, we together went with our Chetan over to his home in Coimbatore, had a lunch there, and by about 2:30 or so, we left, back. We left from Chetan's home over to the dealership, because the scooter after delivery will have to be taken to the Coimbatore railway station to be sent as a railway parcel, and there is some kind of preparation. Our train we have booked for the next day around 9 o'clock or so. There is be 9 o'clock or somewhere around 8 o'clock or so, there will be a train going toward the Trivandrum coming from Madras, another mail. I think the down train, Madras mail down train, I think. Anyway, so we went and got the scooter out, and Sri Japan and rode the scooter to the train station, and Kochetan was in the pillion, and I took an auto rickshaw to the train station. It was given to the parcel office, and with all those details, etc. Ticket number. There are some formalities. We fulfilled all the formalities, and the scooter was entrusted, and the scooter is actually prepared with some kind of covering. And then we were told, tomorrow when you reach Trivandrum by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, scooter will be there in the parcel van of the, what is called, the train. And all that we had to do is we had to give the paper to the parcel department, and the porters will get the scooter out and remove all those covering, etc., to prevent any kind of scratching. There are several things in the parcel van anyway. So we went back. After doing that, we went back to Chetan's home, slept overnight there. And then early morning from there we came to the train station, and we actually Kochiyattam went and checked whether the scooter was ready for the, loading into the parcel van. It was ready and waiting in the platform where the train is supposed to arrive. And then, of course, we sat in the train and rode the train down to Trivandrum, reaching Trivandrum around 1:30 or 2. Then we went back to the parcel office together, all of us. The scooter was delivered, and of course, the porters there in Thiruvandhuram Central, they are also very keenly involved in cleaning the scooter from all kinds of leftover the parking material, and the scooter was delivered to us, to Sri Ranjitaman rather. Then Sri Ranjitaman gave the papers to me, and I and Kochiyattan rode by scooter to Shastamangalam, and then Kochiyattan took the scooter over to Kaidamulagam in Ambalamukka. Sri Ranjitaman just walked over to his home, and once I was dropped in Shastamangalam, Kochiyattan, I told tomorrow morning we will like to see. You have to teach me how to, or train me how to ride a scooter. That was what happened in the first quarter, or a little over the quarter of the 1977